I'm so excited. I've got Linda Woodhead from Mocha Group joining me today, and we're going to be talking all things Australian Beauty Industry Awards, the Logies of industry. But before I start, I first of all want to just say thank you so much, Linda, because these awards have brought so much joy to my business and my life.
Yeah, you've been along for the ride for quite a while.
And especially through COVID, I felt it was a bit of brightness in a time that wasn't very bright for our industry. And you pushed on and continued. I'll
Yeah, we
always
did.
just remember that. It was so cool. And but as we get started, I want to ask you lots of questions for anybody that's thinking about entering in. For me, it was an absolutely transformative experience, and it gave me an opportunity to really have a look at the great things that had happened in
Yeah,
our business, but also to be able to see some gaps. So it's such a great transformative process, and actually being able to share the story of our business growth and where our business comes from to where it ends up and all the
yeah,
things in between, which was amazing. And I really want to say that I entered 3 times before I won. Uh,
yeah,
and the great thing is that you go back to the drawing board, have another go. I was somebody that never gives up.
yeah,
And I manifested for such a long time to be holding one of those trophies. And when it happened, it was so amazing for our business. So
yeah.
anybody that's watching this, it's such a process to go through. But the first question that I'd love to ask you is, what inspired you to create the Australian Beauty Industry Awards, and how have they evolved over the years? Because I know there's different categories now.
Yeah, yeah. I can honestly say it was the industry. I mean, it wasn't something that we said. We woke up one day and said, let's do this. I'd done awards before in other industries and knew how much there was involved in it, especially kind of behind the scenes. I mean, the night is amazing, but it's like a 12-month thing. And because we already had the magazine with Beauty Biz, we used to get a lot of feedback. We used to talk to obviously a lot of people, and the one thing that kept coming up was, I think as well, because a lot of people know I'm in the hair industry as well, and we had awards in hair. They were like, well, why can't we have them in beauty? There's nothing national in beauty. I had spoken to Reed a few times, who owned Beauty Expo, because they owned the main hair expo ones before we kind of came in and took over those. And they were planning to do something, but after a year or two, it kind of hadn't happened. So I went to them and said, look, if you're not going to do it, are you cool for me to do it? But we'll still, back it up on the last night of the Beauty Expo in Sydney. So it was just, yeah, I can honestly say the reason that you guys have it is because you wanted it and we just did it. It wasn't that we just thought this is going to be good, because it is a lot of work, but it's something that I love. People say to me, what's your favorite part of your job? And I will absolutely say, hand on heart, that when I go up on stage, we have 4 awards a year. So we have 2 in hair, 1 in barber, and 1 in beauty. To stand on the stage and look out at everyone and know that you have been in somewhat, I guess, something to do with the joy of people in that. Because as much as the fact it's, everyone wants to win, and sometimes people are a bit disappointed, but at the same time, the energy in that room, I cannot describe. And when you are there with it, in it, and know that you've created that, it's probably one of the most proudest moments I have each year, to be honest. We needed sponsors, we needed companies to support it. And I also thought it was something that we couldn't do on our own. I didn't want to get one big, massive kind of naming right sponsor. I wanted it to be collective in entries, collective in categories, and also collective in sponsorships, so that it was, everyone in the industry was involved. So we hadn't created it. I went to Beauty Expo back in 2011 and literally kind of came up with some ideas of categories, went around and spoke to the companies and sort of said, this is what we want to do and we need you on board. To be honest, actually thinking it wouldn't happen, because then I thought, well, at least I've done it and I've tried. And by the end of the 2 days, we had every single category locked in by a sponsor. I was like, oh my God, now I've got to go and do it. So it was sort of so then the hard works for the next 6-8 months or so. I think I downloaded every single award in the world in English speaking countries to see what they were all doing, pulled together a bit of a panel of people that I love and adore in the industry, kind of like the Gay Wardles of the world, and
Yes.
you know, can you come and help? And you know, because hands up, I'm not from the beauty industry, so I needed the technical side and the industry side as well. And then 2012 we launched with our first ones, so we it was a big year. We started, I think, with around 18 to 20 categories. We're up to 33 now.
Wow.
And that's just through learnings of what the industry need and how the industry has also changed. I mean, initially we were fine just to do beauty therapist of the year, but now we have to kind of include dermal, and then there's like salon manager, and then we also found one year with the salons. In our hair ones, we just have the state salon businesses of the year, but in beauty, we felt after the first year it wasn't fair for the really big ones who have got, you know, 10 treatment rooms to compete with somebody that just had 1 or 2. So that was why we changed it to have the 4 treatment rooms or less, and then the 5 or more. We've also changed it too, which is interesting. We used to have day spa of the year as well, which we then changed because it went fine for about 4 years, and then all my day spa entrants started going into the salon category. And I remember ringing them going, what are you doing that for? And they said, as a title, I mean, even though the only difference between the two was spa basically had water treatment and salon didn't, they said, we don't want to win the title of day spa of the year because people think of that as like a retreat kind of day spa, and that's not what we are. We do beauty therapy, we do skin analysis, we do it's kind of, you know, so we were like, okay, so we changed it then, and we amalgamated the two to be best salon spa. And then I noticed maybe about 3 years ago, a few people that had entered quite a lot, and I was getting feedback from others where, again, the industry has changed again, and is much more clinic based. You know, you have more salons, for want of a better word, calling themselves clinic. So we needed to incorporate the word clinic, and as soon as we did that, we had all the clinics come back in. So basically, we now say, look, the category is for salon spa clinic, but if you win and you want to promote that, then you can say you are the best clinic or the best spa or the best salon, whichever works. You know, we have sole operator now, which kind of has, you know, grown as well so much. So I think it's evolved. I mean, we get people asking us to do new things all the time. We physically can't. I mean, we'd be there all day and night if I keep, as it is this year, we're looking at maybe extending it a little bit because it's such a lot to get through. But it, you know, we're like ducks, you know, we look great, but underneath we're paddling. But we, you know, it's a well-oiled machine now. Like, we have some great people that are with us all the time. We have our own show caller, show director, all my staff, you know, in the office wise, it's kind of all the judges. It's yeah, it's evolved, and everything we do is based on not so much what we think we should do, but by getting feedback from the industry. Because it's your awards. We have always said we're just the custodians of it. Like, we do it, but it's what you guys want us to do.
Beautiful. Can you walk us through the actual award process? So from nomination,
yeah,
the final selection.
Yeah.
And I've got some other little questions to ask in that. So
yeah, sure.
Open now.
So open now. We opened early this year. We find that straight after the awards, there's a lot of buzz around it, and people that haven't entered before want to enter, or people want to start getting stuff ready to collate, to put together. It's interesting that you said also at the beginning, just diversifying a little bit, and that is that and it sounds really cliche, you know, it's the whole journey, not the destination thing, but it really is. I think with this, you know, like you said, it really does allow business owners especially, and individuals as well, to put themselves under that microscope and really almost audit themselves. It's kind of like, and in business nowadays, especially, we're time poor. We're still working like crazy. There's all new things that we have to do. Social media wasn't even a thing a few years ago, but that's an added thing that we've got to do. And so I think that it makes things decompartmentalize a business much more. So you might have someone doing social, someone doing money, someone doing marketing, someone. So it's often quite rare, even when you do end of year financials, to look at your entire business as a whole. And I think that's one of the things I really wanted out of this, so that a business owner could sit down, look at it. We've really tailored those questions now and fine-tuned those questions. We update them. We did a big update this year, actually, with a few changes. And I think it allows people to look at it and answer everything. And then when they look at it next year, they can see what they've done and what they've achieved and what those, sort of things are. You can look at the past entries every year when you go into the system. It's all online. It didn't used to be. These people used to have to send a hard copy in, which was an absolute nightmare.
I laugh at that, because when I go back and look at my original, it's like cringe-worthy.
It's a little bit like when we look at our I've got 2 magazines of every magazine we've ever published in a big warehousey cupboard thing. And I was showing my general manager Jared the other day, because he hadn't seen them all. And Kelly, my daughter, who does all the design, was there. And when we were looking at them, I can't believe we even put that out. It was like 20. I mean, we celebrate 20 years this year, so it's a big year for us this year. And thank you. And so we're doing lots of things for that. Process basically is it's self-nomination. You don't need to get someone to nominate you. You can just look at it and decide, okay, this is my year. This is what I want to do. I would always advise that once you make that decision, that you are thinking about it. It doesn't have to be a definite, to then go onto our website, where you can download the document that is also on the awards website, but it allows you to have a look at all the categories and also all the things required for all of those categories. So the criteria, the questions, everything. Once you've then sort of looked at what you want to enter, then to go on to the Award Force website, which is all click-linked through our main Mocha Group website. And just kind of have a look. The beauty with this is that you can go in and out as often as you want. You don't have to get it all ready and then sort of panic and upload it just before deadline. You can literally go in and out, add all the information. There is a opening section. There's kind of 3 sections, I guess. First section is all of your contact details, social handles, all that kind of thing. Second is obviously the written, where within that written section, it would have, specifics to do with that category. So if it's a salon business of the year, it may be writing information about customer care, an opening statement, your green policy, your staffing, all that kind of thing. It's not for the faint-hearted. Like, I will say, like, it's not, just chuck a bit of information in. Some people say, oh my God, it's a lot. And it's like, well, it has to be a lot, because we take this very seriously. If we're going to give an award to somebody to say that they are the best salon in Australia, and they're going to use that in their marketing, and, that's our name behind that too. So it's purposely not easy. It's, but I think it's also very, very rewarding to do it.
I reckon.
Absolutely. And, it's then, next section is then all your uploads and attachments. So you are specific, but you're guided through it. I think the beauty of this is it's not sort of left to chance. We will tell you that you need to do a 5-page, multi-page PDF document done this way, or whatever. And then once that's all done, it's then literally submitted. And what we then do, we have a deadline for all of those entries. We then literally go through and check everything, which is probably the biggest job, to make sure that everyone's done what they should have done. And then it will then go off to judges. Judging's changed also quite a bit over the years. We have a lot of judges for a start, because we have to. I think we used to have like 20, and they used to do all of it. And now that's a physical impossibility. So Now we reduce it down so that no judge usually judges more than about 10 or 11 categories. And we try to specialize those categories to do with the skills of those judges. So they get a link, I guess, to then go into the back end and look at the judging. And I do want to talk about that a bit later as well, as to what the judges see and what they're looking for. And we'll give a few little secret tips as well. While you've got me, you might as well tell you what to do. And then they will obviously go through it. We judge on the basis of a ranking system. And what that means is that however many there are in a category, they have to rank them from 1 being the best to however many. So if you've got 30 in a category, then they will give somebody 1, and then there'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, right the way down to 30. And the reason we do it that way is very simple. When you do judging, a lot of other awards do it in, I think, the wrong way. When you do judging where you've got to mark people out of a certain number of points, you don't necessarily know that everyone will judge the same or in the same way. So if I was a judge, I would maybe look at that and go, well, I think they're all brilliant, and I'm just going to give everyone 20 or whatever, and then I'll do the top 10 or something. Or you might have somebody that's like, no, I'm going to do it in a ranking, so then we're going to go from 1 to 30. The problem with that is that you could have, say, 10 judges judging one way, and all it would need is one judge to judge in a different way. And when you add all that up, it can change the outcome massively. If everyone's giving all these sort of salons, 25 and above, and then suddenly somebody comes in and gives somebody a 1, if it's at the bottom, it changes it, and it's one judge against 20, whereas we like to make sure, and the reason we have so many judges is that it is an average across all of those judges. So the ranking system is the cleanest and fairest and most transparent to do, which is how we do it. We then do have a benchmark. We have a benchmark of ranking, depending on how many enter each category, as to how many finalists we then have, which is why sometimes you get different numbers of finalists in different categories. It doesn't mean that if you enter, you're going to be in, because you're not. I think we're now at the point where probably half the people that enter may not get through to finalists. So I absolutely can't stress enough that if you get through to finalists, let alone win, it's a win, because it's become big, it's become competitive, and sometimes people do call me afterwards and say, oh, what can I do? What did I do wrong? And it's like, you don't do anything wrong. It's just that someone in that year may have done something just that bit better. And the judges, and sometimes it can be by a point. I mean, literally, it's just, but it has to be a certain level. I'm not that. I was never the kind of mum that, did the whole participation awards. You have to win.
Yes.
So it's like, and I don't think that's a problem in this. I think if everyone gets it, then it doesn't show people that they have something to aspire to. And I think also it then puts people in the same bracket that maybe shouldn't be in some ways, and they need to do work on that. And we then try through this process to try and help with that, because ultimately the awards are a reflection of your business. We can only go on what's put in, but we ask questions in such a way that we will get a very good basic idea of the business, even to the point of figures and facts and financials. My judges are so good that they will sometimes, they'll look at it and go, this one doesn't make sense. This is like service against whatever, or this is this, and it's like those figures, and it's like, they know there's no point in putting anything that's a little bit off center in this, because it will come and show up. So it's very fair, it's very transparent. I will say as well, with the judging, we have a huge number of judges. We have judges from overseas as well as here. We have judges from outside of the industry that have nothing to do with the beauty industry. I have 2 architects that judge salon design that are nothing to do with the beauty industry. In the business ones, we will quite often have, financial experts that, again, have nothing to. So it's not, there are then some people that are obviously from within the industry, but we won't allow, like product companies are not allowed to judge. If you have anything to do, we do have some of the business coaches in, but if they have anything to do with anyone, they're recused from that category. And I'll also recuse people if I just feel that I don't want them in a certain category. So, for example, a few years back, one of my editors was also a salon owner. And she was based in Queensland. And I know that she would have been absolutely fine, but I just felt that it wasn't right for her to look at the Queensland salon business entries, because from her other world, I just think from a privacy point of view, that's not the right thing to do. So we are very, very, very careful on who we allow to see information. They literally have to sign their lives away in terms of privacy law. It's a legal contract by going into enter. So yeah, we take that side of it super seriously. You guys are literally divulging everything and laying your heart on the line. So we want to make sure that we honor that and respect that, and make sure that it is judged in the most highest respectful way.
Oh, that's amazing. Like I didn't even know that. So there you go. I think that's answered a lot of questions, to know that it is a safe space to be able to come in and
Absolutely.
showcase your business, and that
Yeah.
you are, that is a big thought in the back of your head. So how do you think winning or being a finalist in the ABS impacts a business, and also for the individual? And I know for myself, it was beautiful to be able to say award-winning clinic, Australian Clinic of the Year, business leader. Like, it really does, as far as branding, really does have an impact on a business. What is it for you, Linda?
Yeah. Look, it's always, all of the awards that we do for me are about elevating the industry, number one. I think that, it sounds a bit strange, but when you have an award program within an industry, it does automatically elevate it. The branding, we've worked really hard on the branding. I mean, we've been going now since 2012, so they're well and truly here. Somebody said to me the other day, "Oh, they'll probably be here after you're gone," and which I actually thought was wonderful, because if you look at Oscars and Grammys, and they're like 100 years old. I'm not going to be here in 100 years. So yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of that and love that. So I think it does give a bit of a stamp of approval. It gives a validation. It gives a validation to you as an owner of a business, or as somebody within the industry as an independent, but it also gives the industry more. We employ, like, this was never about just having a great, beautiful night and handing out some pretty trophies. This to me was all about raising the level of the industry. Number one, we one example, probably even more so, we launched our Barber Awards maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and that was an industry that didn't really have a great reputation. It was a different one, but they weren't really that savvy in terms of presenting their work in the way that maybe the hair industry does. They weren't doing photographic collections. They would just put up on their grids and stuff and on their feeds a picture of a guy in a chair with a cape on. So this is like, no, to enter this, you have to get a photographer, you have to do a proper thing. Like, it took a while to get it there, but it's all about elevating the industry. I think when you enter the ABIAs and you look at what you've done, and I mean, you would probably be testament to this, where you would then write it all in, look at it and go, oh my God, I need to work on that, because you don't see it until you say it. So we also we invest a lot of money into PR. I have a PR and communications, branding and communications company called Lily Blue, who have been with me for many years. The beautiful Jo Coles is the head of that. And so what she does is we will work as closely as we can with our winners. I mean, some of them will have their own PR as well, but we will supply personalized press releases. We will try and hook them up with media opportunities. It's kind of, if we can do anything to get as much publicity as we possibly can, whether it be TV or radio or press, or it might be just a local event or something, then we'll try and
elevates the whole industry, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So it's about, I say to product companies often when they sort of say, when they come on board as a sponsor, it's like if you help push your clients and partner with your clients and give them as much support in this as possible, it's not, again, just about standing up on stage and giving out a trophy. It's about bettering that business and increasing that business. I mean, I don't know many people that have won, the big ones, I guess, that have not seen some increased success in their business because of that. Like I'm putting that out there, and I think that's a fact. Like I think that, if you use it properly, if you promote it and you put decals on your windows and you have it on everything that goes out, your clients then buy into that. They want to know about it. They want to see all the pretty pictures, and they're like, what's that? What did you do? Oh my God, we went to this event. It was like the Oscars. It was wonderful. It was like social, just socials that come out of this. It's sort of, people will love to, they're attracted to success. So, if you're going to put your skin or your face or your body in the hands of someone, how much nicer is it if you know that they've actually been named the best? I mean, that's, I think, yeah, that's what I do think that it has played a role in, not just elevating the industry, but also the connections, the networking, people. It's a weird one because sometimes, there's obviously a competitive streak in there, of course. But it's almost like in that room on the night, how you feel. It's sort of just, there's like this connectivity between everyone.
Yeah.
And it's almost, if it's like this knowing of, well, you know what, if business is going well in general, we're all going well.
Yeah.
And there really is that essence of, it's just a beautiful feeling for everyone, I think, to be involved in. And that's why I love it. That's why I love looking at and seeing all the faces. And, I mean, I wish we could give awards to everyone.
I think the last couple of years there's been a lot of heart.
Absolutely.
There's been a lot of people cheering other businesses on.
Mm.
I feel like the yes, you're against other business owners, but I think you're happy, like, to see yourself up there with the best of the best, even in itself.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is just unbelievable, and an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah. And
Like,
I think it's also a pathway, like people can really watch that journey. The salon that won our 4 treatment rooms or less Australian this year, which was a salon called Luminary in Melbourne. When she first started entering, which was quite a few years ago, she entered initially as a sole operator, and she won sole operator. And then she kind of moved up through the ranks and went to newcomer, and then went to salon, and then out of this, and then won salon, and then out of the top salons in Australia, we then go through all the point scoring, and that's how the Australian won. And then she won Australian. So it's like over, I don't know, 5 years, maybe 6, I'm not sure. But she is systematically, her business has grown. And as she's grown, she's gone into that next. So there is a path in it. It's not like just,
and
going
going into motherhood now. I know, Nikki.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's actually
Yeah.
one of my coaching clients. So
Yeah, she's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I think as well, just that, that the connection is definitely there with everyone within it, and you can watch that as well in terms of how you kind of, and also, like you said, we have a lot of people that enter every year and are finalists every year and just don't quite crack it, but they still enter, and they realize now that it is about the entry. It is about, auditing your own business through the entry process, which is just as important. And then every now and again, at my hair ones recently, we had a salon that had entered, I think, for like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years in team, and we're always finalists. And then suddenly won it, and it was just like, oh my God. And it's just because something happened. It's an interesting point that I do want to make, and that is that when you win these awards, you're winning it for that year. It's not for who you are for the entire time that you've been in business. So you may have done something in that year, and it's very, very important that when the judge, we have some same judges, and then we have new judges as well, but you have to stand out. And if they've got 2 salons that they're just not quite sure which one to give the gong to, they will look at why does one stand out just that little bit more than the other. I know the one thing that the judges hate is when they read stuff that they feel like they've read before that is just quite generic, as opposed to being quite specific about that awards period. It's very clear in all the communication that this is about this year.
Yeah.
There's areas for additional information that you can put stuff in about how great you've been forever. But for this, so that's why I would always encourage people to sort of, don't stop trying, because you may have done something this year that's just been that extra bit special or that extra bit more successful. That then, so that's why I always say to people, it's not about doing something wrong. It's just about in that year, and it's really important. It's just that year that you've done something exceptional.
And is there, I'd love to get, what do they actually, like, I know you've given a lot of examples, being specific.
Yeah.
I think the great thing about the awards too is actually sharing your biggest challenges. Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
about the wins, but actually let's go to the challenges and how did we overcome that? Because you see the business owner, it's where they step into leadership, become resourceful, and it can be really super powerful.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of the tricks, what are they looking for? What can they add a submission shine?
Look, it's a hard one, but I think that the easiest thing to do is when you're writing your submission, try and put yourself in the position of being a judge. Try to remove yourself from it, walk away from it, leave it for a few days, go back, have a look at it and think, if I was judging this, what would I think? So when you look at it and suddenly go, oh my God, it's just a whole big block of text, that's a bit overwhelming for a judge. Content is one thing. The way it's presented is another. And I wouldn't say they were both as important as one another, because what you put in your content is the most important. But at the same time, we're not AI, we're humans. We are human beings that literally will judge this. So a little bit like if you pick up a book and you read a book and it's nicely laid out and there's paragraphs and there's headings and it just makes it easier to read, the same as when you do your submission. There's not a huge amount of formatting. You don't need to be a graphic designer or anything. But, there are ways where you can just bold something or headline something or put quote marks in something or, give it bullet points or whatever. So I think visually, and I do think this is also important, because the way that you present yourself in a submission is part and parcel and reflective of the way that you present your business. So if it's just a bit all over the place and, not written that well, or there's spelling mistakes or those kind of things, if we get to that point where a judge has to go, which one's better, it's easy to know which way it's going to go. So I think that taking care over it, there's a little icon at the very top of the written section. There's icons for bold and all that kind of thing, just the same as you'd have in a Word document. There's a little icon that's a little book, and that's the spelling. So you don't even have to do it yourself. You can click on that and it will come up with all your spell check. There's also a really good button at the bottom, which a lot of people forget or even don't know about, which is called preview. So when you click on the preview, when you put formatting in, so for example, if you make a headline that's bold, it will do this weird thing that you see, which is 2 little asterisks at the beginning and end of that sentence, and that'll be bold. And you see that formatting. Whereas if you click preview, what you see is what the judge sees. So to always look at what they're looking at, I think is important. There is a word count on all of the questions, which we introduced not that long ago, and that was because, oh my God, some people, they'd be like novels, and it's just too much. It's too much for the judges to read, and I can't then guarantee they're going to read it all if it's too much. It's just what. So we've made it so that, okay, you've got 250 words or 400, and that's a really good exercise too, because sometimes you can write everything, but to then kind of bring it down to just being just the important information. One of my biggest tips, I would say, is just by definition of the word opening statement, people think that they should write that first, whereas I would always say, no, write that last. Put all your information in and get that completed until you're happy with it. and then go back and do the opening statement, because your opening statement is your gold. Your opening, yeah, it's like, it's the bait, it's the elevator pitch. It's, you know, if you walk into an elevator and you've got 10 floors to sell yourself and not much time, that's where that is. And don't maybe give everything away. You want the judges to really want to read more. So, you know, if you've done something and you've said, you know, I don't know, we increased our number of clients by 25% this year, you know, and you want to say to this and do this, and no, just say that we increased our client base by 25%. That's it, no more. Because the judge is then going to go, oh my gosh, how did they do that? And then they want to read more.
Yeah.
And that's in all those sections at the bottom. So that opening statement should be, you know, your most exceptional things, the things that you're most proud of, and then go on to explain it further. Uploads, I would say just be careful with your uploads, in the sense that, again, just from a visual perspective, if you have like a 5-page PDF, for example, the only thing that the judge can see, which you'll see as well on preview, is the cover page. So if the cover page has just got loads and loads and loads of images and stuff all over the place, it can look a little bit messy. I would probably recommend that you actually have a nice cover page on the front of all of your PDFs. So it would be, you know, XYZ clinic financials, or XYZ clinic customer care. Or so when they look at it, number one, they have to click on it to open. And number two, it's just, again, indicative and reflective of the beauty of your salon, because it looks beautiful. It's like if I walked past the beauty salon and there was just tables and chairs and shit everywhere, I probably wouldn't walk in, you know. But if it's all beautiful, it just makes you feel calm, and, you know, and you want to see more, you want to know more. So I think those kind of things, you know, it's like, stick to the point, don't waffle too much, sort of thing. You know, you are entering an award for whatever. If ever you get a little bit lost, I would go back to the original document and look at the criteria. The criteria is what the judges use. So the judge will say, if they're not sure who to give the top points to, they will always go back and refer and go, what am I supposed to be judging on? Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
This is supposed to be the best salon to do this, this, and this. And it's like, right, okay, have I answered all of that?
Beautiful. You've given us such a great overview there. So it's open now. When is the closing date for?
Oh my God, I know you were going to ask me that. And I'm
it's normally April, isn't it? April the 20th or something like that, is it?
No, it's a little bit later than that. I'm just going to grab it now, or we can probably just put it up on our, we can put it up afterwards, can't we? I have so many. I'm just going to find it for you now and tell you. Isn't that bad that I don't know? But I'm okay. I feel I'm okay.
You're doing all the other things.
Okay. It is entry deadline 26th of May.
Great. 26th of May. So that gives everyone plenty of time.
Plenty of time. It's open
on some of the things that we did when we entered as well. So for the question, we actually did a little bit of a brain dump on each question. So just put keywords in there, or key things that we wanted to talk about, like kept going back, coming forward. We actually had a couple of times where we sat with our team.
Yes.
Really got their feedback on, hey, let's really look at these questions, and especially with Team of the Year, what are the things that do great? How have you guys been impacted?
Yeah.
So we could really get their feedback on it all as well.
I think it's such a good thing to do with your team, because often you find that, you know, you might have a team member there that's like really good at writing, like amazing, and that might not be your forte. So you can bring them in to do that. I would say as well, be just really careful about the tense that you use. So if you're entering director owner, that is your entry. So that will be, I do this and I do that. Whereas when it's team, it has to be about the team. It can't be about how you lead the team. It's about the team. So it's, you know, we and they, and just use your pronouns properly in the right way. Because that will also, you know, I've seen ones before where we'll get a team entry, but obviously the owner's written it and it's pretty much all about what they do for their team.
And the good thing is too, is then you get all your graphics organized, like you actually get you a bit organized, you know, in your business, because you're getting graphics organized too. And I think storytelling I think storytelling's a really tell the story, and
it's a good one with team, because it just means that they feel part of it. And then, you know, if they feel part of that entry process and you're all working together for it, you know, then when then you go to the awards, and then you know, hopefully final and then win. And it's sort of, you know, then they've invested in it. And so as a team member, I think it's good for people, you know, staying within the same salon. It's people that, you know, there's so many ticks that are outside of what it does, you know, that I think are also equally important and sometimes kind of forgotten. So on that date, it then finals. We then go through all the sort of auditing process. I'm just having a look here. Finalists are then announced on the 23rd of June.
Okay, cool.
It's always live on our Facebook, so it's a live stream. Everyone quite often gets gang together and has little parties and drinks and cocktails, and we hear, and I love those. Like, I love it when people post them after, and there's, you know, people all sitting around a TV and then suddenly just erupted.
Yes, yeah,
it's very cool. And then obviously the night itself, it's this week earlier this year. Beauty have moved a week ahead, so it's on the 17th of it's usually on the 24th 25th, but they've moved to the 16th and 17th, so we're on the 17th.
Beautiful. That's good, because I'm going to be able to actually celebrate my sister's birthday. It's on the 24th.
There you go. There you go.
Since I've been able to actually have her birthday with her.
Yeah.
This is such great information. Like, it really is. You know, for anybody out there thinking about it, like, put your hat in the ring.
Yes.
Chance. And this is such a transformative process that you can go through. Not only that, the energy in that room that night.
Yeah, it's always very beautiful.
We get to celebrate each other, and as an industry,
yeah,
I think I love it, Linda, and I love how, like, and I've just watched this just, you know, absolutely evolve over the years.
I know, right? It's grown. I was talking to, I think it was from Marie from Inskin not long ago, and we were saying that, you know, the first one we ever had was on the other side of Darling Harbour at Dockside. It was in a small room. There was pillars everywhere, so half people couldn't see anything. It was a tiny little two-piece stage.
Wow.
It grew and grew and grew, and now it's yeah, like a 700 to 800 people massive gala Oscar event. So
and I also want to shine the light on, you know, the fundraising that goes behind this event as well. And also the sponsors. Like, we have a lot of sponsors out of our industry that are actually putting money into this event to really amplify the industry and the standards, and to get recognized as businesses, individuals. But we also do fundraising, Love Your Sister. And how much have you raised so far, Linda, for?
I think we're around about the 180,000, maybe closer to. So yeah, we're actually looking at, and we will be announcing it quite soon, being our 20-year anniversary. I kind of wanted to look at what we could do for that, and we'll be announcing something really special really soon. We're going to be across all of our different sort of genres that we deal with. I thought about doing an event, but then it's like, we do 4 events a year. I don't want to do another one. So instead, we're looking at, we're currently talking to some product companies across all 3, hair, beauty, and barber, to look at seeing if we can raise some money through them. And then also using us, and then being able to put that all together to something quite incredibly tangible at the end of the year, which will be our kind of 20-year give back. And the other thing as well that's happened this year, which is also new, I guess, for the awards as well, is that we've opened the awards to New Zealand, which is huge.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
We have. So we haven't been able to do it up until now. We've always had our hair creative awards open to New Zealand, so they can all enter the photographic ones, but we haven't done it with our business ones. We definitely wanted to do it with barber, because it's such a big industry over there. And, you know, when you look at the demographics and the distances of that, New Zealand's almost closer to us than it is Perth. I mean, you know, it's not far away. And we found that a lot of companies now that we deal with kind of deal with the whole area. So it's a bit of a subtle name change, but instead of the ABIA standing for Australian Beauty Industry Awards, the A now stands for ANZ. So we have increased, which then means, and we won't get, I'm not expecting thousands, but we'll gradually start to promote it and work with it. There is a category for them to specifically enter. So they can't enter obviously any of the state categories or Australian, which is brought out from that, but they can enter the New Zealand Salon of the Year. And then they can also enter into the other sort of more generic categories as well. So we're pushing that. Our magazines are going over to New Zealand now for the first time as well this year, which was another big new kind of thing. So that allows us to promote it. It usually takes a few years to kind of get it off the ground, but it started, the movement has started this year. So
congratulations, Linda.
I don't want people to think that it's like, oh my God, that means there's going to be more people. It just opens it up to
the New Zealanders.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that will be really cool. I think that we've opened that up, and we might get a few entries into the various categories as well, and they might be our beautiful friends from New Zealand. So
beautiful.
Watch this space.
Yeah, congratulations on all of that. Now, where do people enter? I'll get you just to say.
Probably the easiest thing is if they just go straight onto our website, which is mochagroup.com.au. Everything you need is on there. Just go onto the Mocha Group website and click along the top to beauty. And when you click on beauty, you'll go straight into the awards page, and that will have a step-by-step what you need to click to download the click entry to the actual website for awards. We're just about to put tickets on sale, I think, this week. So everything is all on the Mocha Group website that you will need.
Beautiful, Linda. Always an absolute joy and pleasure to have some time with you.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for all.
Well, we're not that faceless kind of giant. We've anybody that wants to reach out or email us or even call me, I'm fine. Like, just give me a call, have a chat. Let's work out, what you can do. We're doing quite a lot of these webinars, as I said, with some of the product companies as well, to try and sort of extend their reach as well, because part of their sponsorship is that they really try and get embraced in this, and it's not just about giving out a trophy. It's sort of, let's get all their partners. So I know quite a few of them are really, really active this year on helping as well with submissions and all that kind of thing. So I think there's people out there as well that can help with copywriting, that can help with submission. Remember as well that with that, you can't just get them to do it. You've still got to give them all the information. So you've got to weigh up whether or not you want to give everything and get someone just to fine tune it, or whether you want again, and like we said, you might have somebody in your team that is brilliant at this kind of stuff, so you get them to do it. Yeah. So look at what their skills are. You might have somebody that's really cool at Canva and design and stuff, so you utilize the team that you've got.
Jess was the
exactly
writer. We just complemented each other, so it went really well.
And don't forget as well, we do have, which Jess was obviously one of, we do have the Beauty Squad as well, which is part of the ABIAs, which is a mentoring award. Basically, they enter that. It's for 35 and under. It's basically what I would consider as our kind of young rising stars. And it's very much a 12-month kind of mentoring program. They get incredible prizes, but we also have time together at the Beauty Squad house, which we did recently down at Kingscliff this year, which was just stunning. And we had literally 3 days, a procession of icons who all flew in this year. A lot of the time we do Zooms, but they all were like, no, coming in this year. So our sponsors come in, icons come in. They do a shadowing program with Gay Water. Like, it's amazing. And so if you are young and hungry and keen and want to do something really exceptional, I would definitely look at Beauty Squad as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
You're amazing. Thank you for all the hard work you put into our industry. And I know that a lot of people would have got a lot of gold out of this today.
Great. Thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, reach out anytime to anyone. Thanks, Beck.